Hi friends, in this video we are going to discuss about direct memory access in IO management of the operating system. So direct memory access can be termed as DMA also. It is very important in terms of academics and in terms of placement point of view also. Now we will see what is direct memory access. Direct memory access is used to avoid programmed IO for large data movement. So here you need to understand what is programmed IO. So before DMA, the computers used programmed IO, means our CPU is directly communicate with the IO controllers. For example, the CPU sends a request for getting 100 bytes of data from the disk controller, from the disk. So it generates the request to the disk controller. So the disk controller takes the responsibility for getting that 100 bytes of data and transfer it to the memory. But disk controller having the capacity of 10 bytes for data, let us say 10 bytes at a time. So the disk controller needs 10 cycles to get the total 100 bytes of data. So the meanwhile CPU is monitoring all these transfers, data transfers between the disk controller and the memory. So this will definitely reduce the performance of the computer, because all the time CPU is concentrate on the IO. We know that IO time is greater than the CPU, and for almost all the process needs IO. And for each and every IO, if CPU is concentrate on IO, all the processes are put in wait queue, and there may be starvation also. That definitely reduces the performance. Then direct memory access is coming into the picture. So it needs DMA controller. So it installed in the computer. What it will do? So processor delegates IO operation to the DMA module. When there is a DMA controller is available, so processor delegates IO operation to the DMA module instead of IO controller, and it simply bypasses CPU to transfer data, and then DMA takes the responsibility to transfer data directly to or from memory. So it gets data from the disk controller or some other device controllers, IO controllers, and sends this data to the memory, or gets the data from the memory and sends it to the particular IO controller. So after completion of the data transfer or after completion of the task, it sends an interrupt signal to the processor. That means at the starting time, CPU generates a system call to the DMA controller, or CPU generates a system call for IO, and finally after it receives the interrupt signal from the DMA module, again it focuses on the IO. So the meanwhile processor is busy with some other process. It definitely improves the performance of the computer. Now we will understand 6-step process to perform DMA transfer. How DMA transfer is performed. So here in this diagram, CPU, cache memory and main memory is connected to the DMA through some CPU memory bus, and this DMA is connected to the disk controller through PCI bus. So if the request is getting data from the device, so here the request is device driver is told to transfer disk data to buffer at address X. So CPU generates one request to the device driver to transfer data to buffer. So the data is available on the disk and buffer is available at memory. So this is memory, means this is RAM. Okay, so this is our request. That is the first step. Then immediately the device driver tells disk controller to transfer C bytes, means some bytes, whatever the number, from disk to buffer at address X. So the device driver tells to the disk controller. So this is our disk controller. So it tells the disk controller transfer C bytes data from the disk to address X that is available in the memory. That is the second step. So first, device driver is asked by the CPU to transfer data, disk data to buffer. Then the device driver tells the disk controller about how much data transfer and where it has to be transferred. Then the third step is, here the disk controller initiates DMA transfer. So it initiates the DMA transfer. Then the disk controller sends each byte to DMA controller. That is the fourth step. So the third step is disk controller initiates DMA transfer. Then the disk controller sends each byte to DMA controller. So here the communication between disk controller and DMA controller. There is no intervention of the CPU. Then the fifth step is DMA controller transfers bytes to buffer X. That means the data is coming from disk controller to DMA and from DMA to our memory, the buffer available in the primary memory, and increasing the memory address and decreasing the C until C equal to 0. So it generates a loop until the completion. The loop data is transferred from the disk controller to the DMA, DMA to the buffer available in the main memory. When C equal to 0, C means number of bytes. When transfer one cycle, that C value is decremented. So like that, when C becomes 0 means the data is completely transferred to the memory. Then the task is over. Then CMA interrupts CPU to signal transfer completion. So DMA controller generates an interrupt to the CPU through this bus. Then our task is completed. Then CPU comes and gets the data from the memory. Okay, so this is called 6-step process to perform DMA transfer. It simplifies the task. So from the first request and until the 6th, meanwhile the CPU is busy with some other process. It is not focusing what the work is happening in DMA and the disk controller and RAM. It focuses on some other process, so it definitely improves the computer performance. Now we will understand different DMA configurations. So here the first one is single bus detached DMA. So in the earlier days, single bus is used. On that single bus, all the hardware controllers are attached. So the processor, DMA, IO and different IO controllers, memory. So if you want to attach the DMA, or you can detach it. It can be detachable, not fixed. So there is a dedicated slot for the DMA add-on card, just like add-on card. So you can easily insert it to the particular port, and that is connected to one common bus. So the later integrated DMA is coming. So here also there is a single bus and all the controllers are attached, but DMA is coupled with IO. So here there is separate DMA and separate IO, but here DMA is coupled with IO, and here also. So if there are so many IO controllers, all are connected to the DMA. So path between DMA module and IO module doesn't include system bus. So here DMA to IO, IO to DMA, here also DMA to IO, there is separate path. These are not connected to the common bus. This is one type of configuration. So this is one more configuration. Here we have two buses, system bus and IO bus. So system bus is connected with processor, DMA controller and memory, and IO bus is connected to all the IO controllers available on the computer, and these IO bus is connected to DMA. This is connected to the DMA. Okay, so all the IO controllers are connected to the IO bus, and this is not directly connected to the system bus. This is connected to the DMA controller, and it can be easily expandable. If there are additional IO controllers attached to the computer, then you can easily attach the IO controllers to this IO bus, and DMA controller is coming with the system. So this is about DMA configurations. So with this I am ending this session. In this session we covered what is DMA, so what was before DMA and what are the disadvantages, how DMA overcome the disadvantage, and how DMA transfer happens through some steps, and what are the DMA configurations available. Thank you.